Ever wish you could, like, reprogram your brain?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like conquer a fear or achieve a goal or just feel more confident?
Mm-hmm.
Well, today's deep dive might just convince you that it's possible.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be taking a journey into the power of the subconscious mind.
Okay.
And we're going to be guided by Joseph Murphy's book, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind.
Yeah, this book, it really digs deep into a concept that often sits right on the edge of what we consider possible.
Yeah.
That our thoughts, especially the ones we're not even fully aware of, can shape our reality.
Yeah, I've got to admit, that sounds a little mystical at first.
Right.
But Murphy doesn't just throw this idea out there.
Right.
He actually backs it up with some pretty compelling evidence.
Yeah, he brings in examples from all walks of life. Scientists, artists, even high-performing athletes who've seemed to tap into the subconscious power to achieve incredible things.
Oh, wow.
One story that always stands out is the one about the opera singer Enrico Caruso.
Oh, yeah. I remember reading about him.
Yeah.
He was one of the most celebrated tenors of his time.
Yes.
But he struggled with intense stage fright.
Exactly. And according to Murphy, Caruso found a way to overcome that fear by consciously shifting his mental focus, allowing him to perform at his best despite the nerves.
So someone like Caruso could leverage the subconscious to overcome a major obstacle. What's stopping the rest of us from doing the same?
Well, that's where the concept of suggestion comes in.
Okay.
Murphy suggests that our subconscious is like a sponge, absorbing the ideas and beliefs we feed it, especially those associated with strong emotions.
Okay, so if the subconscious is taking in all these suggestions, wouldn't that mean it's vulnerable to negative ones too?
You hit the nail on the head.
Okay.
Murphy acknowledges that the subconscious doesn't discriminate.
Oh, wow.
In fact, he shares a rather unsettling anecdote about a man who, after being told by a fortune teller that he would die on a specific date, actually died on that exact day.
That's a bit chilling, but it definitely highlights how powerful even a negative suggestion can be.
Yeah.
So how do we harness this power for good?
Well, Murphy presents a range of techniques that we can use to consciously program our subconscious mind for positive outcomes. One of the most well-known is visualization.
Visualization, where you basically create a mental movie of your desired outcome.
Yes.
I've heard about that. Does it really work?
There's actually a lot of evidence to suggest it does.
Okay.
When you vividly imagine yourself achieving a goal, you're essentially planting that seed in your subconscious mind. And the more you nurture it with emotion and repetition, the more likely it is to take root and grow.
So it's not just wishful thinking.
Yeah.
There's a real mechanism at play here.
Exactly. And there are other techniques as well.
Okay.
For example, autosuggestion involves repeatedly affirming positive statements to yourself, essentially talking your subconscious into believing them.
It reminds me a bit of positive self-talk, but in this case, you're specifically targeting the subconscious level.
Precisely. And then you have some more specialized techniques like the passing over technique,
Okay.
where you imagine handing a problem over to your subconscious to solve.
Interesting. Like trusting your inner wisdom to come up with a solution.
And then there's the Baudon technique, which involves impressing your subconscious with your desired outcome while you're in a relaxed, drowsy state, almost like you're falling asleep.
So you're kind of catching your subconscious off guard, making it more receptive to the suggestion.
That's the idea. Murphy suggests that the subconscious is particularly open to suggestion during those transitional states between wakefulness and sleep.
Okay, so we've got visualization, autosuggestion, passing over, and the Baudon technique.
Right.
What kind of real-life results are we talking about here? Did Murphy actually provide examples of how these techniques have worked for people?
He certainly did. He shared stories of people who used these techniques to achieve all sorts of things. One woman, for example, vividly imagined herself owning a specific make and model of car. And lo and behold, within a few months, she was driving that exact car.
That's pretty amazing. It sounds like the potential applications are pretty vast. Did Murphy talk about how these techniques can be used beyond just manifesting material things?
Absolutely. He emphasized that the principles he outlined can be applied to virtually any area of life.
Okay.
From relationships and career success to creative pursuits and even spiritual growth.
So it's not just about attracting wealth or possessions.
Yeah.
It's about tapping into a deeper power that can influence our well-being on multiple levels.
Precisely. And one of the most significant areas where this power can be harnessed is in overcoming fear.
Okay.
Murphy dedicated a whole chapter to this, recognizing that fear can be a major roadblock for so many people.
You know, he's not wrong. Fear has definitely held me back from pursuing certain things in the past. I'm really curious to hear about the techniques he suggests.
Well, instead of simply saying don't be afraid, which is rarely helpful,
Right.
Murphy offers a more practical approach. One technique that stood out to me was his method for conquering fear through visualization.
So using visualization to replace a fear response with a feeling of confidence.
Exactly. He gives the example of a man who had an intense fear of elevators. By repeatedly visualizing himself calmly riding in an elevator, feeling a sense of ease and control, this man was able to reprogram his subconscious and overcome his phobia.
It's fascinating how we can use our imagination to create new positive associations in our minds.
It really highlights the power of the mind-body connection. And speaking of connections, Murphy also emphasized the importance of understanding the interplay between the conscious and subconscious minds.
I'm guessing he's not suggesting we can just passively wish for things to happen.
No, not at all. He described the conscious mind as the watchman at the gate.
Okay.
It's responsible for filtering the thoughts and beliefs that get passed down to the subconscious.
So it's up to us to choose what we allow into our mental space.
Exactly. We need to be mindful of the mental diet we're consuming. Just as we wouldn't expect to be physically healthy if we ate junk food all day.
Right.
We can't expect a positive reality if we constantly feed our minds with negativity, fear, and self-doubt.
It's about taking responsibility for our thoughts and beliefs, recognizing that they have a direct impact on our experiences.
Precisely. And this leads us to one of the most profound concepts in the book,
Right.
the concept of forgiveness. Murphy argues that holding on to anger, resentment, or guilt is like poisoning our own subconscious.
So it's not just about being nice or moral. It's about recognizing that those negative emotions can actually harm us.
That's exactly what he suggests. When we harbor these negative emotions, we create a blockage, preventing the flow of good into our lives. Forgiveness, on the other hand, is an act of mental and emotional cleansing.
He's making forgiveness sound almost like a self-care practice.
In a way, it is. He suggests that forgiving others is ultimately an act of self-love because it frees us from the burden of those negative emotions.
It's about choosing peace over pain.
And it's not always easy. Murphy doesn't shy away from the tough stuff. He talks about how to forgive even the most egregious wrongs, including forgiving ourselves for past mistakes.
Forgiving ourselves can be the hardest part. I'm assuming he doesn't mean condoning harmful actions, but rather releasing the toxic energy of holding on to the past.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that holding on to resentment keeps us trapped in a cycle of negativity. Forgiveness, on the other hand, allows us to break free and move forward.
It sounds like a powerful shift in perspective.
And it all comes back to the central theme of the book, that we have the power to choose the thoughts and beliefs that shape our reality.
Just like Murphy is handing us this incredible toolbox filled with practical techniques and insights for harnessing the power of our subconscious minds.
And the most empowering part is that he doesn't present this as some elite skill reserved for a select few.
Right.
He firmly believes that this power is within everyone. It's our birthright.
But like any skill, it takes understanding and practice to master it. And that's where a book like The Power of Your Subconscious Mind comes in.
Right.
It's a guidebook, a roadmap to unlocking our innate potential. So we've covered a lot of ground here, exploring the power of the subconscious mind and the techniques we can use to tap into it. But I'm curious, how do we practically apply this understanding to create positive change in our everyday lives?
Well, one of the key takeaways from Murphy's work is that the subconscious mind, it doesn't reason or argue. It simply accepts what it's told, especially when those messages are repeated and emotionally charged.
So it's like we're constantly programming our subconscious minds, whether we realize it or not, with every thought, belief, and reaction we have.
That's right. And that's why it's so crucial to become aware of our habitual thought patterns.
Okay.
Are we feeding our minds with negativity, fear, and self-doubt? Or are we cultivating thoughts of peace, confidence, and possibility?
It sounds like he's calling us to really examine our mental diet and make conscious choices about what we're consuming.
Precisely. And to be patient with ourselves.
Right.
Changing deeply ingrained patterns takes time and consistent effort. But with persistence, we can literally rewire our brains for greater happiness, success, and fulfillment.
Murphy uses a really powerful analogy to illustrate this. He compares the subconscious mind to fertile soil. Whatever seeds we plant in that soil, whether they're positive or negative, will ultimately bear fruit.
So if we want to harvest a life filled with abundance, joy, and love, we need to sow those seeds in our thoughts, beliefs, and actions.
That brings us to another important point. The power of belief. Murphy emphasizes that the subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's imagined.
Right.
It responds to what we believe to be true.
That's where faith comes in. Not necessarily faith in a religious sense,
Right.
but faith in the power of our own minds to create our reality.
Okay.
It's about trusting that what we focus on, what we feel deeply, will ultimately manifest in our lives.
So it's not just about thinking positive thoughts. It's about truly believing in the possibility of what we desire.
And that belief can be cultivated through practice. The more we use techniques like visualization, affirmations, and positive self-talk, the stronger our belief becomes and the more powerful our subconscious becomes in manifesting those desires.
One of the most encouraging aspects of Murphy's work is that he doesn't present this as some elite skill reserved for a select few.
Right.
He firmly believes that this power is within everyone.
It's our birthright. But like any skill, it takes understanding and practice to master it. And that's the beauty of the power of your subconscious mind.
Yeah.
It's a guidebook, a roadmap to unlocking our innate potential.
It's an invitation to embark on a lifelong journey of self-discovery and transformation, to become conscious creators of our own destinies.
Imagine what you could achieve if you truly embraced the power of your subconscious mind. What fear could you overcome? What dream could you manifest? What kind of life could you create?
That's a powerful question for each of us to ponder as we move forward. It's a reminder that the greatest adventure lies within. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the incredible world of the subconscious mind. Until next time, keep exploring.